many dancers does it take to change a light bulb? 5, 6, 7, 8. Hey, shh. Welcome back to Not Another Needless Sequel, where we watch movies and propose unnecessary prequels, sequels, reboots, and remakes. My name is Kane. Today I have with me Kelsey.
I hope everyone's ready to cut loose. Footloose.
Son of a bitch,
It's so good!
This week we
Did I do good?
cut loose with 1984's Footloose. So what do you think the story was?
A bunch of rebellious teenagers trying to dance in a town where dancing is banned because it's not with the way of God.
Rebellious, eh? I'm just going to have to start off with this. I'll get more into it, but I didn't care for this movie. With that being said, the beginning, the opening credits, shows all them dancing feet. I thought that was really good. I think that was a good opening for it.
It was good.
Especially for these older movies where you know they're going to have 20 fucking minutes of credits in the beginning.
The movie definitely went downhill from there.
So the dancing feet in the opening credit sequence contained many of the cast and crew. Over 150 different pairs of feet were shot, and the dancer with the gold shoes was Kenny Loggins. So we see Kevin Bacon's character, Ren. He's the new kid. He's at church.
I wanted to say something.
Yes.
About the opening scene. I'm just curious if somebody in the movie had a big foot fetish.
I know that somebody listening to this right now probably lost it.
Because that's what sorry to interrupt, but that was what my only note was, really.
Back then, foot fetishes, those were taboo. I think if anyone did, they said nothing.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Ren, he obviously doesn't fit in. You can see that he wears like a leather jacket, a tie, and it's a small Midwestern town. And so they're even talking about like banning a specific book, and he's like, oh yeah, I've read that book. Like, it's a great classic book. And they look at him like he just admitted to eating babies. And, that's just how it's going to be for the movie. Then we also meet the Reverend's daughter, Ariel, and you see that she's rebellious for the movie. Like, there's a whole scene of them driving down this back dirt road, and she climbs out of the car she's in into her boyfriend's truck, but only halfway, and she's standing between the two cars as a semi's coming, and has not a care in the world about the semi coming, as everyone else is trying to figure out what to do.
She does it later in the movie, too, with the train.
Yeah, she's just... what an unhinged character. She's insane. So, on top of, meeting her and seeing kind of like her dynamic with the town, Ren makes his first friend at school. Willard's just a dude he bumps into, and the dude is like, why don't you watch where you're going? Who taught you how to drive? And Ren replies to him like, hey man, that's a nice hat. Do they sell men's clothes where you get it? And Willard's just like, this guy's all right.
Yeah, pretty much.
They just become friends, and I like it.
Yeah.
So dancing's illegal in this town due to, it comes up later, but due to the fact that Ariel's brother was playing chicken in a car on this bridge, and both the cars crashed and went off the bridge and died. And so...
after they had a night out dancing.
Yes. And so since then, they get real crazy about stuff. And on top of the dancing being illegal, there's a whole thing going on throughout the whole movie where they're banning books. And the Reverend is most supportive of the dancing ban. He's kind of iffy about the book banning. But...
I think part of it for me was, why does Kevin Bacon come to town and go, I want to dance. I feel the need to dance. Why can't anyone dance? Why is it all of a sudden about dancing? I don't ever... do you remember in high school being like, I'm ready to dance. Let's dance every day. No.
He does mention how that's something that he did often, where he used to live in Chicago.
Yeah, he did tell
and
a
he was
lie
a dancer
surrounding this story.
I know, but he, that was his pastime. He liked to dance, and, he was like, what do you mean I can't dance here? That doesn't make sense.
What do you mean I can't cut a rug? That's basically what they were saying the whole movie. He was just so upset. And he does gymnastics with his dancing, during his routine. I also thought,
I was like, what is this Midwestern town? I don't know if you know this, but they don't do that.
I was just very confused, I guess, as to the...
Okay, so...
anyway.
Because Ren's not fitting in, he's not getting along with a lot of people in the town. We see Chuck, who is Ariel's boyfriend, has a problem with him for really no reason. Chuck says, hey, you the new kid? Ren looks back at him, nods his head, and he's like, hey, I'm talking to you. And he says something about, he's a pansy, and Ren's like, oh, I thought only assholes use the word pansy. That's it. They hate each other now. And then they do a fucking, they play chicken on some tractors. Like, who are these rich kids that just can afford to run a tractor into the ground?
Well, remember, it comes out later that there was damage from people playing chicken on tractors, and kids they just stole somebody's tractors and did this.
Yes, and so like his uncle or whatever, Ren's uncle is like mentioning that to him, that he was involved in that. And then there's like a kid fucking frames him for having a joint at school, and fucking like all this ridiculous shit where he's
all the church going, very religious people who are against dancing and want to ban a bunch of books and burn them in town are trying to get him in so much trouble that he has to be kicked out of town.
Yeah, like he's just not fitting in. And I will say one thing, his mother, I don't even know her name. She was very much a side character. She was barely really in it. But I feel anytime that they had her, she was supportive of him and standing up for him. Like, she lost her job, allegedly, because the boss heard some bad shit about Ren and thought she ought to stay home and be a mother. And she was like, I don't care, there's other jobs. And, like, I thought that was really nice, like, and supportive. That leads to Ren, of course, doing this dramatic dance in the train depot that everybody's probably seen one way or the other. I mean, I've seen it parodied thousands of times.
That entire thing is stupid. There's no way he hears with the amount of grunting, running, dancing. There's no way he hears his car that whole time.
I know. I want to say that I think that scene wasn't that bad. I know that that's crazy to you, but the way that it's played, I was like, I totally feel the, like, you're pissed off and you kind of just are listening to music. Now, sure, I'm not breaking out and dancing, but you never been in your car just loudly loudly listening to music?
I mean, yeah.
I do think it's ridiculous that as he's dancing, he's having, like, flashbacks of all the shit that happens.
You know what the song would have been when we were kids? Hillary Duff, As the Rain Falls Down. Come Clean. You know what I'm talking about?
Not fucking Teenagers by My Chemical Romance.
Oh, could be. Yeah, it could be. I'm just
Both
saying.
of those,
something
I think,
like
would have been
that.
great.
Yeah.
But so while he's dancing and having flashbacks about everything that's happened, he's having flashbacks of Ariel, and I'm like, you don't know this girl. What are you in love with her for?
I know you've been kissed a lot.
So yeah, she shows up and she starts like, why don't you like me? Well, you two don't know each other, so I don't know what you like.
And also, she has a boyfriend, so he's staying away.
Ariel's a big hoe.
She is a big hoe.
It's just, I mean, that's what I have written down right here. Ariel is a big hoe.
It does, everyone. It does say Ariel's a big hoe.
And then that's the scene that you mentioned earlier where since they're at this train depot, she's like, sometimes I just like to come out here and stand in front of this train and scream. And you think it's going to be like this fun, like, ah, ha, ha, we're playing chicken scream. It's a scream of, this is it, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
And it's psychotic. And I'm watching this scene and I'm like, this woman needs help.
I actually wrote, what's wrong with the girl always trying to kill herself? She's literally screaming for help over and over and seeking sadness.
And they're not helping
and
her.
The reason that she's a big hoe is because of her dad and feeling sadness over her brother dying because they never talk about him and all of these things.
Yes.
And Ren just straightens her right out.
And I do want to make that clear that as much shit as I'm talking about Ariel, I understand that there's this underlying plot of she has not had a chance to deal with anything about her brother because her parents basically just allowed dancing to be the blame of all of this, and that's it. And like, she's not being properly helped through this time. But I still wrote the most annoying girl in the world trying to get hit by a train, basically.
Yeah, her character was not great because then she gets with Ren, stops being with Chuck. Chuck and her get in a fist fight. He beats her up.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
Like when she dumps him and she like hits him for something, like
he's like grabbed her or something. I don't know.
It just felt like he beat the fuck out of her, and it was so aggressive and advanced. It wasn't even like a you hit me, I hit you back, which is still not okay. Don't be fucking hitting people. But she shows up and they're like, oh, are you okay? And she turns and just has a giant fucking black eye. She's all fucked up.
Lips are bloody.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'm fine. Like, you look like you've been in a boxing match.
Yeah, and then her, Willard, Rusty, and Ren go dancing out of town, and Willard can't dance, and I think that's important for the future. So.
Yes, because they're planning a dance. Like, Ren is planning this dance where he wants everybody to, we're going to go to City Hall, and we're going to get them to reverse this. And so they leave town to dance. We also see where he teaches Willard to dance. Like, that's a long scene. The actor that played Willard actually couldn't dance. And so that's actually why they wrote that scene in there. He really didn't know how to dance.
I enjoyed that scene.
I think it's
Willard's
a good scene.
Willard's the best character. After all of this, it comes back to Ariel versus her father again.
Well, yeah, so they're having disagreements with this whole thing. They have a screaming match in the church where you know, she's like, I'm not a virgin, like, and he's horrified.
Slaps her in the face, doesn't he?
Yes.
After she just got absolutely thwomped.
Yeah, and at the same time, you know, there comes a scene that's almost like a turning point for the Reverend, where as they're screaming, somebody runs in there and is like, they're calling for you, like, then they're burning all these books in town. He goes out there and he gives a little speech. It's nice. He's like, you know, when did you all decide to sit in judgment of others? Like, go sit in judgment of yourselves and stop this. And he starts having, like, a change of heart and thinking he's wrong, and he talks to his wife about it, and you can see he's very conflicted. He never really agreed with the book banning or the book burning. All he really cared about was the dancing, which is wrong, but obviously it went too far with that, and I think that is kind of an interesting plot that they have in there too. But
he only cared about the dancing because his son died after going out dancing.
Yes.
It wasn't because he thought it was against his religion.
Yeah. And so Ren and the students, they do end up speaking to city council about, you know, having the dance. And Kevin Bacon actually revealed on the Kelly Clarkson show that he broke out in hives when he had to film the city council scene, and the director gave him Valium to calm him down. And that's a little fucked up, but he said, like, he's never really gets nervous acting, but for some reason that scene got to him. Anyway, they basically tell him no, they're not going to lift the ban, but the Reverend says something about, you know, you have to convince him, that kind of thing. They do end up having the dance.
Because it's just outside of Beaumont city limits.
Yes. And, you know, the Reverend and his wife go there and they, like, approve of it. Like, they watch from the back. There is a pointless fucking fight. Like, there's like 10 minutes in the movie left, and Chuck shows up and is, like, wanting to start shit, and they go out there and have a little fist fight, and then they just go back to the dance. And, like, I thought that scene was just pointless and dumb.
Let's dance!
That is an iconic scene. I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah.
But,
I did, all I wrote about that scene was leaping and dancing.
Yeah, leaping and dancing.
Because that's what they did.
So they have this prom dance, obviously, for the school, and the movie is over. I do want to say that the school that they filmed it at, they had a lengthy and aggressive campaign by the students to get Kevin Bacon to revisit the location. It's Payson High School. On April 20th, 2024, he attended their prom to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the film.
Aww.
Because they were like, the school was going to be knocked down and a new one was going to be built, and so they tried to get him to come for the movie. You know, it's the last time it's going to be there. I thought it was cool that he showed up. But they did, like, everything. Apparently they put on, like, a Footloose play that year. They had, like, Kevin Bacon posters and cutouts. Like, they were just begging him. And so I thought that was cool.
That he actually went. Yeah, that is cool.
Kevin Bacon also said that he bribes DJs at weddings to not play Footloose because he knows the wedding isn't about him. And when they play Footloose, he stated that people gather around him and expect him to dance. They're like, oh,
That's
you
too
got it.
much. I don't understand.
And he said, like, you know, it wasn't always me dancing. Like, there was stunt doubles and stuff. The last thing I have here is this movie was loosely based on events that took place in the small, rural, and extremely religious farming town of Elmore City, Oklahoma in 1978. Dancing had been banned for nearly 90 years until... I said that weird. 90 years until a group of high school teenagers challenged it.
You said 90? Like,
Yeah.
Are you ready to party?
I felt like I sounded like Rob Lowe and,
Yeah.
you know, literally.
Literally? I went Caribou Lou, but sure.
Okay. Anyway, I rated the movie a 2 out of 5. I just think...
It's bad?
There was so much... Look, I'm going to say this. This movie falls into a very specific category of mine for me that only one other movie has ever been. I don't think it's a bad movie. I just fucking hate it.
Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia is the other one.
Listen, I think it's a bad movie. I'm not a huge fan of it, and it got a 1.5 for me. Mamma Mia is a good movie. Don't listen to him.
I just think that it's the people, it's the town. As somebody who moved to Oklahoma when I was in high school, and obviously dancing wasn't banned there, but I just fucking hate everyone in this movie. And it reminds me of moving, and I just hate it. And so, again, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just can't stand it, and I never want to see this movie again. I'll probably watch the new one at some point to see if it's any better.
It's about the same.
Okay.
Footloose.
Okay. I'm going to give you 5 true or false.
Okay.
Elmore City, if you remember, that's the town it was based on. Elmore City population was last recorded as less than 800 people.
True.
That's true.
Is it in the Panhandle?
I don't know where it is.
You
I
know
didn't
where it
actually
is?
look.
Okay.
An elderly couple were once brought into court on charges of teaching their grandkids to dance.
False.
Correct. Dancing...
Elderly couples would have been against dancing. That's why it was false, everyone.
My God. Dancing had been forbidden since Elmore City was founded.
And you said 90 years, and it was 1978. That's probably true.
It is true.
Yeah.
Dancing remains banned in Elmore City today.
No.
You got it. The ban was not lifted until 1980.
78.
It's not that specific. They let them have a dance in 78, but it wasn't officially removed until 1980.
Oh, okay.
Still, you did great.
Thank you. It's because, born and raised.
Okay, so obviously there's no sequel to Footloose. There was the remake, but what is your sequel?
Mine's called, it's a reboot.
I looked down at your title.
He looked down at my title and his eyes about popped off of his head. Don't be reading. Jeez.
Oh my God.
Would it be considered a reboot now that you've seen the title?
I don't. So a reboot would be...
Same characters, different genre.
Okay, but like, not did anything in the first movie happen, or?
No.
Okay, then yeah, it's a reboot.
Mine's a horror reboot, but it's like Scream horror.
It's like reimagining, I guess.
Yeah,
anything.
reimagining, but
Anyway.
it's like Scream because Scream
Yeah.
is kind of funny.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It's like lighthearted horror.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean,
It's called The Footloose Murders.
all right.
Maybe it's just horror. Maybe it's not lighthearted. I don't know. We're going down a bad path. Anyways,
I like it already.
I put remake as a horror movie similar to Scream. Ren is a new kid moving to town, and the movie opens with him driving in across the bridge. You know, the bridge from the original. And then flashes back to 15 years prior where some kids were at a bar area, the bar that they all went dancing at. Dancing, and on their way home, you see blood spatter along the windshield, and the car goes off the bridge, and everyone is presumed dead. But they'll presume them for being dead for falling asleep, not for murder. But the car splatter, you'll be like, what? So, everyone assumed that somebody just fell asleep at the wheel for being tired from dancing. After that, dancing became illegal, just like in the original movie. Flash forward back to Ren and his overwhelming want to dance. Oh, that's really hard. Okay. Some kids at high school end up dead and nobody can figure out why, but a stereo is found at the crime scene, so they assume it's because they were dancing in secret. People start looking at Ren as the suspect because he is new in town and all of the murders just started happening, and he's vocal about his want to dance.
Makes sense.
Okay. A few more murders happen. They start preaching about how bad dancing is in the church. You know, this is a continued thing.
Yes.
Same themes. But one of the murder scenes, Ren starts to go visit because he's the prime suspect, and he noticed something is left behind that he's seen in a picture once. It turns out it was Ariel's brother's shoe.
Okay.
Or something of Ariel's brother. I couldn't think of anything
No,
but
that's
shoe.
good.
A shoe. And he convinces Ariel to help him search after showing her the shoe, and she's like, oh, that's Tommy's, or whatever her brother's name is.
Yeah.
I don't know why Tommy came to mind. Maybe it's Tommy. In the midst, Willard decides he wants to try and help them because Ren and Willard are still really good friends, but he needs to learn how to dance in order to lure the killer. While he is dancing, he decides to, try and help everyone out, and he's dancing, and the murderer comes and gravely injures him because he started dancing without somebody else there. And he's in the hospital. But the killer disappeared when Ren and Ariel showed up, so he didn't get to finish the job.
Okay.
Okay, at the big dance at the end of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
it turns out to be a trap, and they catch the real killer, which is, in fact, Ariel's brother. But it turns out when everyone went to dance out of town that night, he wasn't invited and lied to his dad and was jealous and decided to kill everyone. He was convinced by his father it was God's doing, so the dad helped him, and they go to jail.
Nice. My God, what a dark, twisted turn.
It's kind of dumb, though, because
No.
the original movie is dumb.
I like it. And it truly fits the needless sequel thing where we're supposed
Yeah.
to make it anything we want. It doesn't always
Yeah.
have to be... We typically do direct sequels, but I said from the beginning, it can be anything. You can change it a musical to a horror movie. You can change a horror movie to a musical. Like,
Yeah, we typically don't genre skip. I feel like for this one, it's really hard. I mean, I don't know if you made a sequel or what you did, but I feel like for this one, there's no need for a sequel. The original's enough.
I don't know what you would
And the
do.
fact that there is a remake that already exists, and then last week I was like, well, maybe we could do a TV show like Scream, like change the plot like and just go around to all these different towns where dancing is banned.
Yeah.
But I felt like I did a TV show last week.
Yeah.
That's just me. But anyways, what's yours?
Well, I did a Footloose remake again. I know they already did one, but I think it should lean way more into the drama, and I want to get rid of Ren's character altogether. Just doesn't exist.
Okay.
Because it felt like he was only there so that they could have this love interest thing, and you may think, well, then why don't I just get rid of Ariel? But I have a story.
Okay.
So the story would focus on the Reverend and Ariel. When they were younger, Ariel, her mother, and brother loved to dance together. As her brother got older, he wished to audition for a talent show in the next town over. Ariel's mother and brother drove to the audition and got into a horrible car crash, killing both of them instantly. After that, the Reverend suffered, and rather than care for his mental health issues, he lashed out at those around him, including his daughter and the town they lived in. Dancing was soon banned in the town, and Ariel was constantly reminded when she got older that she would be staying in the town and getting further involved in the church along with her father. Ariel secretly dances whenever she can, and hopes that one day she can change her father's mind. Meanwhile, the town's mayor has taken advantage of the Reverend's sorrows and convinced the Reverend to help him with banning some books about dancing, and he soon expands it to other books he deems inappropriate. Soon the town's laws are being used to restrict people's rights at every turn, and it's all pushed by the small town's local government and spiritual leader. Ariel is caught dancing by her father, and they have an argument leading to her planning a huge protest at the next city council meeting, where they plan to enact further restrictive laws. Ariel and her friends ask for help from anyone who will listen, but they're unsure about going against the town in this manner. Ariel and her friends are picketing outside of the city council meeting and not gaining much ground until people from all around the town start slowly showing up, and people walking by have a change of heart and join her as well. They chant and protest, and as the members of the city council emerge from their meeting, the entire group of protesters starts dancing in defiance of the laws. The Reverend begs them to stop to no avail, until the mayor starts ordering the police to begin arresting people. When Ariel is forcefully thrown to the ground by a police officer, the sight of this shocks the Reverend. He runs over, shoving the police officer over. He believes he sees his wife and son in the crowd and realizes his mistakes. He stands up calling for everyone to stop and announces how wrong he's been in supporting this mayor, and he realizes now the grief for his loss has caused him to be blind. The mayor tries to interject. The Reverend calls him out for manipulating him and demands his resignation. A few weeks later, we see a pan through the town and see the mayor packing his things, the library being renewed with books after a large donation from several people of the town, a sign for an upcoming school dance, and last, the Reverend and Ariel through the window of their house dancing for fun as they used to as a family.
Oh, I like that. I think that's better. Yeah.
I mean, the dancing still, it's a little weird, but obviously it was based on a true thing, and I think if you focus more on it being like expanding into like he started with the dancing and now all this other shit's happening and the mayor's manipulating him and
yeah.
Like I said, just lean way more into the drama of it, make it really, sad.
The love.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So we both did remakes, but in different ways.
Yeah.
I went murder.
Well, thank you so much for listening. We do so appreciate it. If you want to talk movies with us, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Letterboxd, Threads, and Twitter. We are NansPod everywhere. If you'd like to vote on whose sequel idea was the best, come by our YouTube channel for the polls, or let us know your idea across our socials with a comment, tweet, or you can reach us at needlesssequel@gmail.com. Links, as always, will be wherever you're listening. You didn't go NansPod?
NansPod?
If you wouldn't mind, share a show with someone, leave us a review, and come back for more. We'd love to have you and hear what we can do to improve. Next week, we're watching Beetlejuice to prepare for Beetlejuice. All right, take care of yourselves. We'll see you next week. And remember, gotta cut loose. Footloose, kick off the Sunday shoes. Please, Louise, pull me off of my knees. Jack, get back. Come on before we crack. Lose your blues. Everybody cut Footloose.
Bye.